Hello, folks. This is your host, Tammy Tuckey, and you are now listening to the Tiara Talk Show. We bring you rare interviews with the makers of Disney magic. Whether they be singers, actors, Imagineers, animators, they have all made their mark on the Disney name. Be sure to check out the show notes, other episodes, contests, our social media pages from Facebook to Twitter, and more on our official website at www.thetiaratalkshow.com. Are you looking to plan and book an upcoming Disney vacation? Contact the Tiara Talk Show's official travel agent, James from Destinations in Florida, by visiting destinationsinflorida.com/tiara for a free quote. The link is also included in the show notes on our website. All guest opinions are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the opinions of the Tiara Talk Show or the host. The Tiara Talk Show is not associated with the Disney Company. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. And from all of us here at the Tiara Talk Show, have a hoop-de-doo day. I'm excited to welcome this week's Tiara Talk Show guest, Kirk Hanson, to the show. Welcome, Kirk.
Thank you, Tammy.
It's wonderful to have you on the show. Yes, absolutely. I really wanted to start out our interview talking about your beginnings working in the story and art and animation department. So why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your first couple of projects before you started working for the Disney Company?
Okay, well, I graduated from Cal Arts in 1983. And I think the market was really, really tiny then in terms of the amount of studios, and work was a little bit tough to find. So I ended up moving up to San Francisco for about 6-8 months, learning how to build architectural models in a model shop. My thinking being that I could draw already, but there was a skill set that came in handy at WED at the time, which is WDI now, but back then it was WED Enterprises, and I thought, maybe I can work in the model shop. So I did that, and I actually did get hired in the model shop for Euro Disneyland, now Disneyland Paris, but we were working on all the big models for when that park was being designed. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That was 1988. So the skills did come in handy. But I ended up realizing I don't want to work in the model shop. But then I managed to finally land at Hanna-Barbera in 85, I think, and went to work doing model design, characters, props, for a show called The Flintstone Kids. And it actually was apropos that I started at Hanna-Barbera because I actually grew up loving their cartoons first. I saw them more often than I saw Disney cartoons. Disney was pretty much relegated to once a week on Sundays. If you were lucky, we got animation, or we'd see shorts on the old Mickey Mouse Club, and then of course a feature coming to the local movie house. Now, I think the first feature I saw was Sword in the Stone. So I was at Hanna-Barbera for about 2.5 years, I think, and then this job at Imagineering opened up, and so I went and did that for a little while, and enough, and I was there long enough to know that I didn't want to work in a model shop anymore. But I did manage to work with one of my bestest buddies in the industry, a fellow by the name of Bob Beranek, who's a genius, and he designs everything dimensionally, and it was pretty much responsible for the Indiana Jones attraction.
One of my favorites, by the way. I love that attraction.
Oh, good. Yeah, and Bob was the art director at the park. One of the art directors for about 8 to 10 years, something like that. And Indy came on during that period, so it was fun to go down and visit Bob. But that was a lot of fun. We got to work together on a Pirates of the Caribbean rehab in the 90s, which was loads of fun. It was actually the most fun project I've worked on in my association with Disney, just because it's Walt Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean.
And then you started getting into film from that point, correct? Like with The Brave Little Toaster and Hercules?
I somehow got on the radar of an executive over there, Charlie Fink, at Features, and he had me do a little bit of, I did kind of a little portfolio piece, kind of a little tryout piece, do a little bit of visual development on it, and then and at that time I think I'd gone back to Hanna-Barbera for about 2 more years, and in the August of '89 or '90, they had me come over and start doing visual development on Aladdin, which was a dream come true. Of course, we were off the lot at the time. We were in a little commercial building over in Glendale near Imagineering, and it was that whole period. Little Mermaid was done off the lot, and in fact, I think they moved out for Basel. I think that might have been the first picture that was away from the main lot, and it was before the new animation building had been done. But I got to this was the first project I got to work on with John Musker and Ron Clements, a couple of genius guys, and really just great guys to work with. They saw in what I was doing that I was better equipped to handle continuity and to handle gags. So they put me into doing continuity for the picture as opposed to just doing visual development, and that was it. And from there, I worked for about 12 years on everything from worked on Aladdin. The first sequence I worked on Aladdin was the Prince Ali number, and my take on it. This was what did it. I did some visual development on the Prince Ali number that presented it kind of like the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. There's not that much in the picture, but I explored all kinds of gags, like the giant balloons and the genie being the on camera, all that stuff. And some of it made the picture, and some didn't. Hercules is probably the picture I have probably the most material in, the most sequences I worked on. I knew Hercules was going to be a blast because our very first day on Hercules, we all traipsed over to the third floor screening room in the old animation building, which was Walt's screening room, and they had us watch Superman, the Richard Donner picture. And it was like, because they wanted that, they wanted this kind of light and fluffy kind of picture, the way some of the elements that Superman had. That still has mythos to it. That still has scale to it.
I have to mention House of Mouse, too, because I love how the Disney characters are all kind of thrown in together, and I love how they just appear and they talk to one another. I always thought that was fun, and I found that some of your credits are including, writing material for that show, and I truly do miss it.
House of Mouse was kind of the first of those Disney crossover things. I think that later, Kingdom Hearts does it.
And I have to include Fantasia 2000 in there. You worked with some of the people who came on the show to host it. They did like a little host segments. So you got to work with, I'm going to guess you got to work with Steve Martin and Bette Midler and Penn Teller.
Oh, now that's fun. That's interesting. Yeah, that's where I actually wrote those sequences and boarded them as well. And the most rewarding one was working with Penn and Teller. I just wrote the pages. We kind of targeted them for introducing Sorcerers Apprentice. Makes sense. It's about magic, so they're the perfect choice. So I'm a huge fan, and so I just started writing pages and writing dialogue, and they came in to do the table read, and they told Don Hahn that usually when somebody writes for them, they have to put it in their own voice, but they were ready to go as is because they thought the pages sounded like them. So I was like, wow, that was a huge, huge compliment when Don came back and told me that. And then and my reward for that, I guess, was that I got to go to 20th Century Fox and watch them shoot this intro sequence, and it was a kick. It's a kick. I tell you, it's a kick to hear your words come out of a famous voice.
You also recently worked on Jake and the Neverland Pirates.
Just came off about 3.5 years, and worked on Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Jake and the Neverland Pirates. we had a big tentpole movie. I think it was 90 minutes. It was like three episodes, 3 half-hour episodes, and it was all about Captain Hook stealing the storybook that Peter Pan and the Neverland story was in, and that resulted in Neverland. I think Neverland started fading away, kind of the Back to the Future gag with Marty. So Jake and our special guest stars, Wendy, John, Michael, Tinkerbell, Nana, all were in that special.
It was so cute.
A lot of fun. Oh my God, it was so much fun. They give us a whole bunch of reference from the original material, from the original movies, to get all the layouts and the character designs, and just for fun, So now you add that to your collection.
Well, I have 3 Disney questions I always ask my guests. They're called the Fab 3. So we'll start with the Donald question, which is...
Okay, start the clock. Wait, start the clock.
Timing.
Go.
As a child, what Disney film was one of your favorites to watch?
I grew up in the period where, you know what, it would have to be, if a child, it would be Mary Poppins.
Love it. And our goofy question, what Disney character do you think would be your best friend if you met them in person?
Probably Mickey.
And our Mickey question, if I asked you to name any Disney song at this very moment, what immediately comes to mind?
Any Disney song? I said Mary Poppins, Chim Chim Cheree. That's easy for me to say. Did it have to be a movie song?
No, it could have been any type of song. Why
don't
you go ahead?
Then I changed my answer. It's the Enchanted Tiki Room. It's the Tiki Room.
And I have to thank you so much for coming on the show, Kirk. This has been a lot of fun, and hopefully we're going to cross our fingers. We're going to be talking soon about that new project that you're working on for Disney. Maybe we'll see.
One of many.
That's right.
I wonder what happened to Rosita.